horrific. I got like Frontier Airlines. There is no first class at all. Everyone's got the same. I paid the $65, seat upgrade to get like in the second row, so my stretch out. But I couldn't sleep anyway. I got home like it was a red-eye flight. So that was the worst part. Was that it was coming back, but we had some barbecue, smoked some cigars. I even drank after 5 years. I had a few beers, got my face retarded.
Couldn't feel his face. Yeah. Just for a little bit, yeah.
I lost my hat on the couch.
Yeah.
You almost lost you at the couch, man.
Yeah, I was out of it there. But no, it was good to meet everyone in person. We've been talking for months and planning things with we did all these debates to make the platform and put the chat together and all that. And it's always good to meet people in real life because then it manifests outside of the internet, so that's really important. And to have that camaraderie, to meet everyone in the flesh and to get to know each other on a personal level. Look, we already know each other. We already know our quirks and flaws and make jokes with each other. But then to meet each other is extremely important. And not to make it some kind of business thing like, oh, we're going to go pay money to see this guy talk. And then we did something like amazing. No, we just, as men, got together. We're going to fight this battle together. It was only a part of our group, by the way. We have another, we're going to do more later on. And so, some guys couldn't make it, but those who made it showed that they're serious. And again, some of these people, first time on a plane ever, flying from New York. So these people stepped up to the plate and said, I'm going to do something. And it seems like a little, not a big deal, but it is. It shows people in the group and others that they're serious enough to get out of their homes, fly across the country, whatever, drive 6 hours, all this stuff, just to say, hey, I'm ready to do this in real life. And I think that's extremely important. That brotherhood, that camaraderie, you can't have that on the internet. You just can't. You just really can't. Some people think they can. Like, I'm part of this chat. I'm part of this internet thing. And you have to meet up. And look, it sucks that our country's so damn big. It's not like we're in Europe. You can just take a train. But we have to do what we have to do to make this work. So I think it was an excellent meetup. Again, I was a little whacked out the first night, and my sleep was all off. But hey, my content of the breakfast sucked at the hotel. But these are the funny parts, and we all had a good time. So it was definitely worth coming, and looking forward to our next one.
Yeah, definitely. It was tons of fun.
Bill, what did you feel about the whole thing, and how did it go for you? And
it just makes this more real, I think, to all of us, but to me especially. You can only get so much over the internet, even if you're doing video chats.
It doesn't compare. I mean,
no, not at all. I was able to get a better feel for everybody, because Angelo said that we know everybody's quirks, but even more so when you can completely read somebody's body language and they're standing there in front of you.
It's even worse. I'm not so bad after all, right?
Yeah, no, it was really interesting how I kept forgetting that it was the first time I met everybody. Everyone,
yeah, me too.
Every time I was with some people, I was like, man, I've only known you, really known you for 12 hours. But I felt like they're old friends, because that's it's different. It's not even different than some of my real life friends. I mean, when we agree in so many things, there were so many non-conversations, because someone would just bring up a point, and instead of it leading to a debate, as I usually have with people, we would all just kind of be like, yeah, I know what you mean, right? And it was kind of surreal in that sense. So it didn't feel like internet meetup. It felt like a brotherhood.
No, that's what everyone was saying too. There was no. I remember Rex. When we first got there, he's like, what's funny? He's like, there's no awkwardness in this. He's like, I thought there'd be some awkwardness just meeting everyone. It's it's not there. And I don't think it was there for anyone, man. It was everyone. Just, once again, it's yeah, we've been in contact. We've had all these discussions and arguments and back and forths, makeups and breakups. We've gone through all these things through all these months and built a platform and finalizing how we're doing things. But it was still all online. It was not person-to-person contact. We're not each other's face. It's very different. So I understand why someone might have thought, yeah, it might be a little weird at first. But there was none of that. It was all the bonding we started creating online, going through all the shit we've gone through with either each other and then from out as well. It just made us, we were the exact same people. There was nothing different from anyone, from who we were online to who we were in real life meeting each other.
Yeah, and also nobody was like, hello. It was all hugs. Like, hey, brother.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it was very close, after all these months. Again, there's that little build-up because we've spoken to each other, but in person, totally different story. And that's why I really urge people, even for you guys who are watching the show, if you know somebody, on the internet that's like a town over, you should meet up with them, or even an hour away, just to to be around people where, as Kyle said, there's no debate, really. Maybe for fun.
It was strange for me. It was.
Yeah, no,
I haven't been in a circumstance like that.
Yeah, there's no arguing. Oh no, Democrat. You all know what's going on, and you're just having a good. You're taking a. It's almost like a break to do business, kind of. But it's like the business there was to bond. That was the mission. There was to bond. It wasn't to argue or debate anymore, or anything like that. Again, because how many times have you been around 13 people who totally agree with you on everything politically? It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah. No, it was wonderful. It was tons and tons of fun, and went better than I expected. I didn't expect it to come off as smooth as it did.
And Crusader cooked us a nice meal. His chef skills,
awesome.
Very good meal. CT did the first barbecue chicken and everything. Then the next day,
I did the easy boomer thing. Yeah, he came in and
Mac and
kicked ass
cheese.
on that stove. Yeah, mac and cheese, chicken, the Brussels sprouts.
what did he do? He did more chicken and then some kind of African tomato
Moroccan,
Yeah,
Moroccan
it was
paste.
both have
Yeah.
good chili.
The rice, yeah, that was good. Yeah.
rice, which was like crack, and everything was good. And then also the Mexican food. We went out twice to the same restaurant. Ate that up. That was really delicious too.
Yeah.
They say
in Rome, yeah.
Yeah, they say in Vegas, the Mexican food where we're from, where me and Rex and others on the East Coast, it's pizza and Italian food. So when you come out there, try the pizza. But that Mexican food is delicious. And again, it seems like, oh, big deal, you guys. It is a big deal because we've been on the internet for so many months and some of us decades, and we haven't met people. And then sometimes, how many people have you met, CT, where it's like, oh man, I should have met this person?
Most people have met from online.
So I'm very weary about that. But that we built this kind of camaraderie, this brotherhood over an extended period of time. As Rex said, it's like he thought it'd be weird. It wasn't weird at all because you already have that established.
Well, that's what I was telling my girlfriend. I had conversations with you guys in person that I haven't had with anybody.
Yeah, and that's huge. I mean, like I said, how many times are you going to be around a group of 12 people or so who agree completely? Like maybe one person, your friend, is like, yeah, I get you, bro. You're right. Maybe one person on the phone. You know what I mean? But the whole room full of guys, and it's just relaxing and stuff. And by the way, we had different ages, different people from different races, ethnicities, all there. Oh, it can't work. It can't. It works. People have the same mission. They want to save this country. It works. Yep. None of that matters. So it was a good meetup for everybody, and it made this more realistic for everybody. So
Yeah. Holds people to their commitments more as well.
Right.
Like we know what some of us are eventually, going to enter the public square in the future, and like we all know the shitstorm that's going to come from that. And out of all the things they throw at us, I always regret that the pump for Trump thing is something they can bring up on me now. But I was
Listen, if our opponents don't get comedy and irony,
no, they don't. Have you not seen them? They don't.
I know, yeah.
Go look at my Rational Week. They take things I say as a joke literally.
Yeah.
Like, they're so stupid. Like I say, I don't want to say what I said, but it's so obviously not like it's a joke. They're like, he really meant this. But you guys are.
Well, good. Maybe we'll get some of the burnout Trump boomers.
That was Machiavellian. Yeah, he's trying to swing the Trump voters.
We're gonna get 80 million Trump
With the QAnon, yeah.
For Israel. So what's it? No, it was tons of fun. Tons of fun. And I mean, you guys might not believe me, but you might think that this is what I would say no matter what. But there was honestly not one person there who I thought didn't fit in or wasn't cool, or I was like, I take it or leave that person. I enjoyed my time with everyone there. It was incredible.
Same here, dude. I mean, that goes a long way. Like I was saying, people say, "Oh, wow, you met up." Like, there's all kinds. Haven't you heard of pool parties or get-togethers or forums where people meet? It's just like, well, yeah, a lot of those are in state or around each other. It's when you have people literally coming from all across the country to one place and then meeting for the first time and then being on that bond right away. and then having that commitment to each other now, and like solidifying that commitment by meeting each other, knowing each other. You've been to my house, met my kids, my wife, and everything around, right? It's like it's become a personal thing now, right? It's beyond just this. Oh, we're here, third position is talking online, talking about trying to take it out to the public. Now we're invested in each other. Now we put into each other. Spent the money, spent the time to come meet each other. We're going to do it again and again and again and continually.
And by the way, if we didn't have COVID, we probably would have guys from other countries show up too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were stuck where they can't leave their country. So, and plus tickets are like $10,000. But well, probably not that much. But we would have had guys from other countries come too. But unfortunately, COVID restrictions. So that just shows we have people who are willing to fly from anywhere, and that's important. That shows a commitment level. And these are young guys too. Not everyone's 36 or 40 or whatever the hell.
Mm-hmm. Very young group. Yeah.
Yes. So.
And then at the end of that you would open your home to us, Culture Tug. Thank you very, very much. That was awesome. I mean, very personal. Very wonderful.
Yeah.
And trust is there. We got that trust over the months, and everything worked out. So we appreciate it very much.
Yeah. That's something about building it up. I mean, once again, like we spoke about, like the fights, the debates, the back and forth, the ups and downs, and like I said in the article I wrote, it's like we've lost people. We've cut some fat, and sometimes when it gets too hot, the fat just burns off. So that's happened in both cases, right? People have come and gone on their own accord or asked to leave, and we've gone. And even when we had problems with each other, we figured things out, how to get past these things, and this built us up. This is why it was so fluid when we all met, is because we've gone through it. It's something we've had to build. We weren't fake with each other. It just wasn't a bunch of fake beliefs over and over again on a forum, and then you meet up, you realize this person's nothing what he talks about online. It's like we saw each other's faults and falls and quirkinesses, our pros, our cons, all of that. We knew our bullshit because we've been around each other long enough, to know everyone's bullshit and know where everyone's good at and all of that. And like having all that knowledge, just like I said, it was very fluid when we met because everyone was who they were. In our meetings, online, in the conversations, it was the exact same person, exact same character. There was nothing fake there. And I think that goes a long way. And if people are planning on ever meeting up with people from online, it's like you should at least build a foundation like that with the people you're meeting. And like you said, how many people have you met on the internet that you regret? So most of them, because they never built that foundation. It was, oh, hey, I agree with this, blah, 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 I'm coming to town, let's meet. And then you realize, completely different people.
Or they're putting on airs, faking it online.
I mean, I've had some people ask me recently, and I'm like, well, not right now, because I don't know. I've had experiences where I'm like, damn, shouldn't have came here. I mean, that's just reality. You gotta have to know what you're getting into. And I'm older now. I'm not trying to get all these issues and stuff. So you gotta have that trust first, over time. And again, I'm not saying be a hermit and don't talk to anyone, but if you want to, you gotta really get some kind of friendship going for a while before you commit to just meeting. And they could be in your own town, they could be upstate, another state or so, but. There's always a risk involved here. You might always meet a weirdo or something, or you might meet someone who's great, but, you just...
But on the other side of things, I think it's important to, once you've built that trust, actually meet with people.
Right, otherwise you're just wasting time. And so, this has to come off. So basically, the message here, guys, is this is going to get off the internet. That's the whole goal of this. That's what we're doing here. And we had to prove it to ourselves first, obviously, before we tell others what to do as well. Because you lead by example. That's what it's all about. And again, some of you may say big deal, but it is a big deal for us, and it paid off in the end. And again, we'll do it again and continue to meet more people and get this going and the ball rolling until the campaigns begin in a few years or so, and then the heat will start coming for sure. And we need that. We need each other. I mean, guys, none of us can do it alone. It's not like CT could go by himself and just take over. It's just not happens like that. We need that support. We need that camaraderie. Everyone has their different levels of what they can do or can't do or whatever they can. That's totally cool. But we're in this together, and that's what this meeting was about, to say, hey guys, I'm here, they're there, all right, let's go, and just relax, get to know each other. So, yeah.
So, right, stick around and hang out with us in the chat, and who knows, maybe we'll be seeing some of you guys here from the YouTube chat here in the next year or so. That'd be cool. That's where these movements are going, to the real world.
Yes.
So let's get off all that crap and let's talk about some real important stuff. Let's talk about shrinking penises.
Yes, classic shrinking penises. Yeah.
Some
man.
real news.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, there's a chemical called phthalates that is used to stretch our plastic and is in numerous things. Let me draw up this picture here, if I can find a StreamYard, of a diagram of phthalates.
It's like phallus and then phthalates.
Yeah, my diagram. I don't know what to expect. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, so phthalates that are in our plastic. This scientist by the name of, bring her name up here, Dr. Shauna Swan, just wrote a book going deep into this, and I'm sure everyone's heard this before. This isn't news you haven't heard if you've been in, kind of the conspiracy scenes, kind of self-education and hearing from internet. And I've heard people like Alex Jones talk about this for quite a while. And it's just now mainstream science is getting out there and explaining like what's going on. And in her book, Dr. Shauna Swan says that humanity is facing an existential crisis, although that's been a popular term. But this seems to be the real deal. Due to phthalates, a chemical used in plastic manufacturing process, which disrupts the endocrine system. So a growing number of babies are being born with small penises as a result of the phthalate syndrome, something that has been observed in rats when they are exposed to the chemical in tests. So already from your start, it's breaking down your reproduction organs, right? And they're talking about the birth rate. What do they say here? The birth rate is says throughout her book, she cites peer-reviewed studies warning about the collapsing of male fertility rates, including a 2017 study which found that male sperm counts in Western countries has dropped 50% over the past 40 years. With birth rates While the birth rates continue to plummet as a result of declining fertility, young men are also being told to remain single, right? Men going their own way. And then women are also being encouraged, work jobs, don't have kids, have abortions, etc. From 2000, so on top of the chemical assault, you're getting the psychological assault as well. So it's a twofold attack here. In 2016, the U.S. fertility rate fell to 49.8 births per 1,000 women, the lowest since records began. Right, so it is dropping off like crazy. I believe in, now this might be a bit of hyperbole, but she was saying by 2045, most men will be infertile. So, okay, let's say if that's even half true, that's crazy. This woke me up. Even hearing this stuff before, and knowing kind of what plastics and the chemicals, what they do. I never really pushed. I went through a phase one time just drinking through glass bottles. I was like, it's inconvenient. Kind of went back to the plastics, and I'm like, hey, I got my kids, whatever. And I'm like, my son's drinking out of these plastic bottles. I was like, that stops now, man. That stops now. It's there's no way. I can kill off our ancestry, our line through this stuff.
Yeah, but as you see, it's everywhere. It's in toys, it's in plastics, it's in the computer screen. So you got to not. So I mean, some of these they do have levels of different. Like there's these. It'll tell you in the plastic bottle there's different numbers, like 1 to 6 or something, and some of them you're supposed to do it all. But there's some
BPAs are either really bad or really good.
But then whatever replaces them, people are
BPAs are bad.
They got rid of them from baby bottles, BPAs and baby bottles got rid of them. But then they even questioned the alternative. Is that even good? So we're messing with all these toxic chemicals, and these are endocrine disruptors. I also believe this phenomenon is responsible for the transgenderism as well. So not only are they getting assaulted, with made up stuff like there's a trillion genders, people who feel this way probably because of chemical structure in their head being exposed to these plastics do have estrogen-like actions, which can cause them to become more feminized or whatever the case. And again, this is our environment. And if you go back, my grandfather had 6 kids. That was just the norm back in the 60s, okay? Now it's like people people have 2 kids, or 3 max. You know what I mean? So it's already been going down quickly, just because no one can afford it anyway. Plus these plastics and chemicals and what else is going on. It is. I mean, will it go? Will we have zero sperm in 2045? I don't know. But I mean, if we don't,
the way we're going, it's cut in half like in the last 40 years. So wow.
Yeah. So I mean, we won't have a large population. That's for sure. At least
in 100 years.
Yeah. And we'll just, and you know how this whole thing works. We'll just get more immigrants. So
yeah.
replace them anyway.
Yeah. It's almost satanic, man. When you look into this stuff, like the only word that can come to mind is like it's satanic. And these people. So it's not. I'm not saying like all these plastic companies and all these people are. They know this and they're purposely pushing it. They could be. I don't know. People can speculate on that all they want to. What I'm saying is they have to know it's wrong. Instead of addressing the public, saying, "Hey, let's pump the brakes on all this plastic because we think this is going to have effects on our populations, and let's see how else we can do it." No one is talking about that. No politician, no one in the public square is talking about that at all. If you had a strong state that gave a damn about the people, i.e. third position, they would address that right away. You would change that right away. You would fix that right away and find a solution. This is what's so frustrating about this corrupt, weak state. That's essentially ruled by corporate oligarchies. They don't care, even if they hear this. They don't care. And that's like the least. The most is they're in on it, pushing it. And when you look at like the media propaganda, they are pushing having less kids. They are pushing men to be single, women to be single, and not have kids, seek a career, and all this. So it is interesting. You're getting it. Like I said, this double-pronged attack on this issue. But it's like, okay, people speculate on whether the businesses are doing it intentionally. I'll give them benefit of the doubt. They're not. But we know it's wrong. Science is showing us the effects, and none of them are addressing it.
Right.
Well, they're doing it because it makes them more money.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Profit over people. So like, and then also someone like Bill Gates isn't going to be like, oh, we got to change this because he wants to decline the population. We have too many people, too many useless eaters, So
I just read his book on climate change. Not one thing about the effects on plastics on people.
Yeah. So he wants to eat bugs and drink poop water. I mean, that's what he's working on.
Yeah.
But this is affecting us, and it's not good, obviously. But I think the people at the top may know this, as you mentioned. It may or may not. Do the companies know? Maybe, who knows? But I guarantee the scientists at the top, those who are in on this whole thing, are like, yep. Because everyone's like, chemtrails, they're going to spray. I said, put it in their food. Because we all eat food. That makes more sense to me if you're going to do that.
You know who should hate, as I take a sip from this? My wife should sue these motherfuckers, is what I'm saying. It's like, these bastards have been taking centimeters off of me since my birth. And I've never known this. These bastards.
Yeah.
So I'm transitioning all. This is just now, but
he'll transition all right.
Yeah,
you're transitioning.
Hey, we got to get all demos in here. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I know there are watch groups out there, like people against fluoride, and but it's very small, and there are people against the plastic thing. But I was doing research on it too, and there are groups trying to stop it, but guess what's in the way? Profit. Everyone's like, oh, these companies. That's the number one problem. It's just people want to make money. If you think about car companies, they'll be like, well, how many people would this kill? Okay, well, we'll just pay off the people instead of making, instead of recalling all the vehicles. They think like this. It's a numbers game. People don't matter. Profit matters. Same thing with the food industry. Same thing with pharmaceuticals. Same thing with everything. So, there probably will be a change over time as people become more aware of this, but it's going to take a long time, and the damage is already done. I mean, they halved our population already.
Yeah.
Yes. How do you recover from that without like a breeding program?
That comes next, Angelo.
Yeah, right. Phthalates, they call, right? What was it called?
Phthalates, yeah.
Phthalates. But even just look up endocrine disruptors. They're everywhere.
Right.
They're literally everywhere. In your sofa. I mean, it's just
Your
what they're
sofa.
Yeah, they're anything. Like literally.
Fabrics. No.
You can't even escape it. That's
Mattresses.
So I hope you like mutate and get used to it. Like we absorb it or something. But yeah.
Not good.
No, not good. On top of everything else, this is the last thing. I mean, we got so much to worry about already, and now it's like, killing off our future. And like someone commented, there's not much plastic in Africa. And that's the whole thing. Even with a lot of the third world stuff, there's not a lot of the pollutants that are in first world and second world countries. And so, yeah, you are having the West specifically who are going to, be affected by this. So, yeah, it is scary. And it doesn't matter if in America here, it doesn't matter your race. You don't need to be European. You are in the West now. You are consuming like everyone else. That's going to affect everyone in the West that are exposed to all of this.
Yeah. So you need a strong state to regulate this stuff.
Yeah, you do. That cares about the people instead of being a plutocracy. That actually cares about the people.
And would it be, because these are plastics, even medical, all the syringe stuff. I mean, they'd have to make a way to do it right. They'd have to really revamp it. It might cost a lot more money, but it's either that or everyone gets, infertile.
It's not even that much. They could switch over to plastics. Plastics. They could switch over to paper pretty easily.
Well, I'm saying for like syringes and then.
Well, not for that stuff. Yeah.
But again, they'll just find another way to take care of it. Like they can find it. It's just where's the incentive?
Exactly.
They have all this product to get rid of first. You see. So we can make cars run on water probably. They don't want to do it yet because they have to get all the fossil fuel out of the way first.
They can.
Yeah. Oh, and just to let people know, so on the New Frontier page on YouTube, we're going to keep these Ronin reports up. They're not going to stay on the CT channel. That's just going to be a live streaming. I mean, they're streaming on 3 different channels right now. The New Frontier on YouTube, the CT on YouTube, and the A3P on, what is the name of that? D-Live? On D-Live. So, but we'll keep them up on the New Frontier page and see how that goes.
That's right. Yes, New Frontier is our new website. It's going to be our new umbrella, or our parent website, as it were, where we will have not just politics. So American Third Position is our political branch, but that will fall under New Frontier, which is our more holistic approach to change the culture. We want to help change the American culture and move forward in a positive direction. We're going to be talking about non-political things, whatever. Cooking, fitness, the environment, other things that are less political than, for instance, the news. That will fall under the American Third Position, our political branch. So on that website, you're going to find a bunch of really cool stuff. It's new, so bear with us. There's not a lot on there yet, but it's coming. So you can find that link down below.
Yeah.
All right. So I have a next article, and it is. Let me see here. It comes from TheGuardian.com, and it's called Spain and the 4-Day Work Week. And I know all of us have opinions on the 4-Day Work Week, so let's see what Spain has to say. The Guardian says that Spain could become one of the first countries in the world to trial the 4-Day Work Week after the government agreed to launch a modest pilot project for companies interested in the idea. Earlier this year, the small left-wing Spanish party, Mas País, announced that the government had accepted its proposal to test out the idea. Talks have been since held, with the next meeting expected to take place in the coming weeks. Politicians in Spain call the 4-Day Work Week the debate of our times. It has been hailed by its proponents as a means to increase productivity, improve the mental health of the workers, and fight climate change. And the proposal has taken on new significance as the pandemic sharpens issues around well-being, burnout, and work-life balance. Interestingly, Spain was one of the first countries in Europe to adopt the 8-hour workday, resulting from a 44-day strike in Barcelona in 1919. Many left-wing politicians in Spain see this as a continuation of that fight from over a century ago. Proponents of the bill state that Spain works more hours than most European countries, but it is no more productive than the European average. While the exact details of the pilot will be hashed out with the government, the Mas País party has proposed a 3-year, €50 million project that would allow companies to trial reduced hours with minimal risk. The cost of a company's foray into the 4-Day Work Week will, for example, be covered at 100% the first year, 50% the second year, and 33% the third year. Now, whatever your opinion on a 4-day work week is, I think that this is a very good way for a government to test the waters by pledging to cover costs for companies that choose to implement new strategies for the public benefit, but at financial risk. It seems to me that if the government is committed to furthering public good, as it should be, then shouldering the risk for companies that are seeking public progress seems like a much better use of public funds than overseas aid, for example, or worse. I think this model can and should be applied to other sectors. With these figures, back to the article, with these figures, we calculate that we could have around 200 companies participate, with a total of anywhere from 3,000 to 6,000 workers working 4 days a week, said Hector Terejo of Mas País. The only red lines are that we want to see a true reduction of working hours and no loss of salary or jobs. The party has suggested the program and is guided by a panel of experts, including representatives from the government, workers' unions, and business lobbies, who will help analyze the results. Now, I know how we all feel about lobbyists, but I am glad to see that the state, the workers, and the corporations are being involved equally here. In theory, anyway, I think that's a good step in the right direction. The idea has faced opposition in many quarters, however, with one of the country's main business associations describing it as madness in the wake of the country's worst civil war, the worst recession since the Spanish Civil War. Getting out of this crisis requires more work, not less, says Ricardo Moore, a representative of the Spanish Business Bureau. So my gut tells me that Mr. Moore is right. I think more work, not less work. But I'm willing to try it, especially if the government's willing to cover companies' risks in that sector. I think that is a good use of public funds to try to reduce, to make life easier on the workers. If a 4-day work week might have that effect, I'm willing to try it on the government's dollar. I think that's great.
Yeah, and more work towards what, though? I mean, just service industry jobs or, retail. It's what is actually the more work going towards? I don't
Where's
think
that money going?
Yeah. No, I like that. Yeah, I
think it's cool they're willing to experiment to see.
Right.
Like that's a giant social experiment.
Exactly.
I don't think our government would ever do such a thing.
Well, they're doing a little bit in Oakland, but no white folks allowed with that.
Oh yes.
Yeah, the mayor in Oakland they're giving out $500 a month to the poor families. Unless you're a poor white person, then you don't get none of that money. So they're doing this social experiment there. So they're doing similar things, but it's pretty different because I'm sure every Spanish business would receive these funds, while in this country, it's they're fighting racism with being racist.
Right.
So.
Yeah, there's always an element of knocking whites down a peg when it comes to racial justice in America. Whereas on its face, this seems like a more, let's say, honest